Am I the a-hole for telling people my dad died? My 23 female father, 48 male, and I had a wonderful relationship while I was growing up. Around the time I turned 15 or 16, he checked out completely. My mom confronted him about cheating and he admitted to several. They end up separating over the summer and we move halfway across the country right before Christmas. He falls off the face of the earth until the day we are moving out completely. He shows up to grab some things, hugs, and says goodbye. I never hear anything from him after that. I did try to reach out to him a few times during my senior year. I would get inconsistent replies and few times downright evil responses, which I later found out were his now wife at the time. My father promised he would be at graduation, asked for the information, and I even promised to give him a ticket. My school only gave out 10. A week before graduation, I found out through social media that he isn't coming. The wife posts a photo of plane tickets saying they were going to some resort in Mexico for 2 weeks. I lost it. I'm inconsolable for almost an hour. When I finally calmed down, I deleted him and the wife, blocked them. He tries to reach out via text hours after I graduate to say he's proud of me and happy that I graduated and that he loves me, and I don't even respond. Over the next few years, he gets married to evil stepmother. They have a child together that I never met, which I only found out in one of the sparse phone calls I got from them when she casually drops that she's pregnant and the baby is due in a few weeks. He rekindled a relationship with his father, a man I never met because he abandoned my father after he was born and made a new family. He also almost died in a car accident, but I didn't find out until my paternal grandma calls to ask me to call and check on him because of it. At some point in my early 20s, I just decided that the man I knew as my dad died. The man I knew wouldn't do or fathom half of the things this man has done. This person now looks and sounds like my father, but he isn't my dad. Starting that day forward, whenever people ask, I just say that my dad died. If people ask for information, I don't mind explaining a quick summary of this, but most people leave it alone. My paternal grandmother must have overheard me talking to a friend or something and asked me why I say that my dad died. So I explained it to her. And while it hurt, she understood. Somehow though, this got back to father and his wife who have been calling and texting me incessantly to tell me I'm a brat and ungrateful for everything they've done for me, and that I shouldn't be saying that because he tried to parent as best he could. They said I'm trying to turn his mom, paternal grandmother, against them, and that I need to call to apologize. I don't feel I'm completely the a-hole here, but I do feel a little guilty that my grandmother has started to see my father and wife differently, and I don't want it to affect her relationship with my half-sister. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. He's not dead. He is to me. It's a perfectly legitimate stance. If parenting the best he could includes cheating on your mom, leaving, and starting a new family and abandoning, they should probably avoid appeals to the all highlight reel. Dear Dad, you need to hurry and pick up your feelings. Not the a-hole. You forgot going on vacation after promising to be at graduation. Heck, I would have been far less civil than you've been. Just throw it all back in Dad's face when it's done. I was the best parent I could be. Well, that's a pretty sad thought. Lol, if that was the best he could do, he never should have had a kid, let alone 2. You're not responsible for irresponsible parents and their poor choices in life. I'm sorry you've had to deal with this. Not the a-hole at all. Thank you for this. I really appreciate your comment. I was always baffled myself, considering he eventually did to me what his father did to him. You can rekindle with him after 40 plus years, but not me after several? OP, I hope you know this. Your dad's behavior does not stem from you. There is likely nothing you could do or not do to cause him to suddenly be the person to you that he should be. Even now, they're upset, not because of how they treated you, but because they've been called out on it. You are within your rights to say, due to how this person has treated me, they are dead to me. And I'm sorry for how he treated you. Not the a-hole. Next story. Am I the a-hole for not helping my parents pay for my sister to go to rehab? My sister is addicted to opioids. She's been using for 12 years now. She began using during her first year of university. She was living away from home. Anna just turned 18 years old and she got into the party scene at her school and was regularly using both opioids and cocaine. It got so bad she was expelled after 1 year, and she lost her scholarship. She stopped using coke, but she continued using opioids. I will add that she's never had an injury or surgery that required taking them, and she has never had a legal prescription for them. In the last 12 years, she has been in prison more than once. She has been to rehab multiple times. When not in rehab or prison, she alternates between being homeless or staying with us or one of our brothers. Now my parents are sending her to rehab again, and they ask me to help pay for it. I have helped pay for her past trips to rehab. I've spent $20,000 on it in the past. This time, I told my parents I'm done. Does that make me an a-hole? I was devastated when my sister started using and I tried to help. But she repaid me by trying to steal my identity, which she failed, thank God, and nothing happened. And has made the lives of everyone around her miserable, including mine. I am done with her. She's dead to me, and I want nothing to do with this. I'm the only one not contributing money this time. My parents, all of my brothers, and both sets of my grandparents are all giving. Again. I'm the only family member my sister has who isn't contributing, and I'm getting pressure for this reason. My parents want $10,000 from me, and they say that since I make more than that in a month, it should be no problem. They're trying to guilt me with the "she's family" card and saying that because I'm the only one of them who went to university and the highest earner, that I should be helping. I'm getting called a bad sister and daughter for not helping. I'm asking here because none of you knows us or are emotionally invested or involved. I know she's family, so am I being too harsh here? Does saying no to helping make me the a-hole like my family thinks? Am I wrong here? Thank you for reading my post. Please be honest with me. Not the a-hole. This is tough, but as someone who came from a family rife with addictions on one side, you sound like you've already contributed a lot of money, and she's continually relapsed. As we learned in my family, there comes a time when you just need to stop. You've spent tens of thousands of dollars on this, and she's repaid you by making you miserable and stealing from you. Remember that no one can help your sister if she doesn't want to be helped. She's been afforded opportunity after opportunity by you. If you need someone to say it, then I will. You've done enough. You can stop now if you want to. You are not the a-hole. Your family are the a-holes for trying to force you and guilt you into it. Wish you the best, Opie. It's a hard situation, I know. My aunt was similar. Lifelong drug addict, stole from us, etc. Eventually, we just had to take a step back. It hurts, but it's the right thing to do. This was my aunt too. Started with Lord Tab and Soma, moved on to Oxy and heroin that we know of. She went to rehab at least 5 to 6 times, paid for by the family and jail in between. Once for stealing money and painkillers from my grandma, her own mother who was bedridden after a hip replacement. She alienated one family member after another. My final straw was when she called me from jail, I was 16 at a time, to try to get me to call my grandma who'd cut off contact to get her to send more money. It broke my heart because I'd grown up spending summers with her, and she was a sweet, generous woman before the opioids took hold. They never let go. She passed a few years ago. Opie is not the a-hole. At a certain point, you can't be responsible anymore. Not the a-hole, and this is coming from a recovering addict. She's not going to stop until she's ready, and you and your family are just throwing money down the drain. She's not going to get better with everyone enabling her either, which is what it sounds like her relationship with your parents is. Do they often excuse her behavior and run to the rescue just because she's family? If so, then their help is likely a big part of the problem. Next story. Am I the a-hole for paying for my biological sons to come on a family vacation but not my stepdaughters? My wife, 46 female, and I, 45 male, have been married for 6 years. We don't have any children together, but we both have kids from previous relationships. I have 2 sons, 18 and 15. My wife has 3 daughters, 27, 25, and 23. None of our kids live with us full-time, but I have my sons 3 weeks a month, and they stay with us a lot during the summer after school is out. My 18-year-old is going to college in the fall, so I wanted to do something special before he goes off to adulthood. My wife and I decided to do a family vacation with all of our kids, something we have never done before. Obviously, since my sons are in high school, they don't have the money to pay for themselves, so I will be paying for them. My 18-year-old wants to bring his girlfriend, so I'm paying for half of her trip too. Her parents are paying the other half. When we talked to my stepdaughters about the trip, we told them that they would have to pay their own way if they want to join us. All three of them work full-time, and the older two have long-term partners they want to bring with as well. Simply put, we can't afford to pay for all of them. And since they are older and earn their own money, it makes sense they will pay their own way. They were fine with that at first, even though there were a few complaints about the destination, but you can't make everyone happy. But then, the oldest found out we are paying for my son's trips and half of the girlfriend's, but not helping my stepdaughters at all. And the three of them ganged up on me during this past weekend while they were at our house. They said that since we are paying for my sons, the fair thing would be to pay for them too, including half of the partner's trips. I explained the difference in the circumstances regarding the ages of my sons and the fact that all three of my stepdaughters work full-time and earn their own money. But that fell on deaf ears, and they said that if we don't pay for them too, none of them are coming. That's how the conversation ended, and now my wife is frantically trying to figure out how to make this work and keep everyone happy. But we simply can't afford to pay for everyone, especially working adults. I'm tempted to just cancel the trip and take my boys on a smaller trip, just us. But my wife hates that idea because she has her mindset on our first family vacation, all or nothing. So I told my wife that if her girls aren't willing to pay for themselves, then we have two options: cancel the trip completely or go without them. I'm not willing to negotiate with them on this because we can't afford to pay for them. It's that simple. My wife thinks we should find ways to pay for her daughters now too. But financially, that's just not possible. I now feel like the trip is being held hostage by my stepdaughters. I understand it might not seem fair to them, but my boys are in high school, not adults working full-time jobs. Now for the comments. Change the trip up. Rent a chalet or camp somewhere for a week and invite everyone to stay there. Beach, mountains, wherever. Way cheaper and everyone is involved. And there are no excuses then. That's what we're doing. We're renting a beach house. No paying for single rooms. Split cost of the house. Stepdaughters are upset we're not subsidizing their travel costs like we are for literal teenagers. Not the a-hole. Cancel the family trip and do something with your sons. Definitely not the a-hole. I just went on a family trip where me and my husband paid for ourselves. And my parents paid for my sister and her boyfriend because me and my husband have jobs. And my sister and her boyfriend are in uni. Lol. I don't understand why fully adult people think that other adults should go into debt for them. Not the a-hole. This seems perfectly reasonable given their ages. They are interpreting this as being a biological/step distinction, whereas you are making the distinction fairly based on age/employment. This is a fight they are picking with you, not one you started. Do not negotiate with terrorists. Not a-hole. I think trying to arrange a family trip when the older daughters are working adults with partners is a bit screwy though. Once I was out of college, I didn't really go on trips with my childhood family, and I paid my own way on a few things I did participate in. I would cancel the whole mess and take your boys on a trip. Last story. Am I the a-hole for not posting family pictures with my stepson? I, 31 female, have a stepson that is 11 male. I've been in his life since he was 2, and he lives with us part-time. That being said, I have a great relationship with his mom. Ever since she got out a few years ago, we went to 50-50 custody almost immediately. We have agreed on everything and respected each other's wishes. One of her wishes was that she no longer wanted my husband or I to post pictures of my stepson online. Not a big deal. We know there are creepers out there. Fast forward to Easter time, I had some professional pictures of us as a family. Myself, hubby, stepson, and baby son. I don't ever spend on professional photos, but I got a great group on. And since the holiday was a few weeks away, I figured why not? About 95% of the pictures were all together. However, I got a few photos of just myself, my hubby, and baby, so I could get a new profile picture for social media. Anyway, we get the finished edited photos a few weeks later, and I print a bunch. I give family photos to everyone including mother-in-law plus father-in-law and/uncles and my stepson's mother. She loved the photos and even hung one in her house. After that, I downloaded the digital ones and posted the pictures of myself, hubby, and baby. I was very careful not to put any pictures of stepson on social media. They all look alike in a folder, per his mother's request. About a day after I had posted it, I got a really aggressive text message from stepson's mom. She said she didn't appreciate the fact I had posted family pictures and made her son feel bad. I texted back and said I didn't understand. She didn't want his pictures on social media. Also, how would he know about it when he isn't on social media? It has been 24 hours, and she hasn't messaged me back. But I took down the profile picture anyway. Did I cross some sort of line? Am I the a-hole? Not a-hole. She's upset because you honored her wishes. There's no winning with some people. It sounds like she made that request when the son was much younger and may have forgotten about it herself. I almost lean towards no a-holes here until there's more communication about everyone's expectations. Mom actually behaved like an a-hole. You don't just launch on someone that you have a relationship with. You call and talk to them like a grown adult. Not a-hole. Sounds like someone forgot she asked you to do exactly what you did. Not at all surprised she hasn't responded yet. Yes, she must have forgotten. I think it's possible someone told her about the photo and, unaware of their agreement, made a big deal to her about it. Then, because a big deal was made at that moment, she forgot the arrangement that was made and got mad at Opie. She probably doesn't want to respond now because she remembers asking them not to post, and saying something now will be admitting she made a mistake. It could also be that the post of a family photo is what triggered it. She might have a knee-jerk reaction like, "Oh, I see you post a photo of the family, but my son isn't in it, so I guess you don't really see him as a family." She forgot about the request and thought it was a pointed dig, when in fact, if she had given the okay to post pictures of him, they would have posted a picture with everyone in it, and now she's embarrassed. If Opie hasn't already, she could send her some pictures with all of them together and assure her that the step-kid was included. And the only reason they didn't post a photo with all of them is that they were under the impression she didn't want pictures of him on social media. But if she's cool with it, they'll happily post the entire family one.